Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm doing my first ever tier list video on this channel. I know there are tons of hungry meta slaves out there, and if you don't know what the term meta slave means, it basically refers to someone who only cares about meta. To them, anything outside of the meta is inferior and not worth their time. They despise casual players and OTP gamers down to their bones. And to feed all those meta slaves, I'm making this video. As the proud owner of this channel, I'm destined to feed whoever knocks on my door. In this video, I'm going to rank heroes from absolute dog shit to the absolute best. Honestly, I'd love to rank all the heroes in honor of kings, but that's impossible to fit into just one video. So I've decided to make these tier lists role-wise. For this first video, I'm starting with the jungle role. But don't worry, that doesn't mean I'll only ever cover junglers. I actually plan to take a break from jungle-focused videos next month, and start covering other roles, heroes, and topics too. So here's how I'll be ranking these heroes. I'll randomly go over them, pick one, place them where they belong, and give a reason or two for why I put them there, why they deserve that spot. Also keep this in mind, this tier list is highly subjective, meaning it's based on my personal tastes and opinions, but I'll do my best not to do any injustice to any hero. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I'm starting this tier list with the most picked hero in the game right now, Agudo. And I'm placing him in tier 1, as he's insanely strong, though not quite strong enough to break into T0. Agudo's got solid healing and super fast jungle clear, but he still comes with some noticeable weaknesses. Like, his biggest issue is that he gets kited way too easily. If you build him tanky, you lose out on wave clear. If you go damage, you risk dying before even getting your ult off. That's why he's sitting firmly in T1, not higher, not lower. Next up is Menki. He's a tank, and tanks are naturally kind of bad in the jungle and solo queue. If you build him full damage, he just ends up being too squishy and super easy to kill. That's why I'm placing him in T2. Next is Liu Bei, and I'm dropping him straight into T4, our first true dogshit hero on this list. Honestly, Liu Bei is just a dumb champ. His entire game plan revolves around camping in a bush, waiting to knock you up as you pass by, and hoping he could finish you off. The moment enemies actually start checking bushes, he just becomes completely useless. On top of that, he has terrible mobility, and his knock-up or CC is straight up terrible. If you have half a brain, even as an ADC, the squishiest role in the game, you should never be dying to this guy. And after meeting our first T4 hero, how about I introduce you to our first T0 hero, and it's none other than Agudo. I know it's surprising and totally unexpected, but hold your horses, let me explain why Agudo actually deserves this spot. If you don't read patch notes, which, let's be real, most of you don't, Agudo just got another rework, and she literally became broken after it. It honestly feels like the devs woke up one day and decided to erase every single weakness she ever had, especially her 4 biggest ones. First, her smite used to deal less damage than other champs, but it's gone now. Second, her skill 2 roll used to get cancelled when hitting an enemy, but it's fixed now. Third, she was weak without her furball or bear, but not anymore. And fourth, after using her ult, she couldn't recall furball for a long time, and that's removed too. But wait, that's not all. She didn't have sustain before, but now she does. Also, when furball used to die, it would go on cooldown, but now it doesn't die at all. When furball gets low, then it just stands there, heals to full, and jumps right back into the fight. Furball literally became immortal. I believe in furball supremacy now. On top of that, her role got buffed. You can now reset its duration by bouncing off walls. Combine that with her solid range damage and a passive that makes her amazing at stealing camps, and you see why she shot straight to T0. Not gonna lie, if she still had her old weakness where getting off her pet made her instantly paper thin, I'd place her in T1. But after these changes, she's a whole different beast. Honestly, I'm still flabbergasted. Next, I've got 3 heroes grouped together in the same tier, Arke, Nakoruru, and Cirrus, and I'm placing them all in T3. The reason is simple. They share the same problems. They barely have any CC. Their engage is terrible, their escape options are weak, and they have no way to deal with CC themselves. On top of that, their skills are super easy to dodge, and they barely do any damage. Like, honestly, I don't even know why RK, for some mysterious reason, has one of the highest win rates. I just can't imagine her being actually good. She feels like a worse version of Landling. As for Cirrus, he's completely helpless if the enemy team has CC. He literally can't go in if there's any reliable control on the other side. Next up is Musashi, and I'm putting him in T1. He's got built-in anti-heal, and his ultimate basically lets him dive on whoever he wants. Once he locks onto you with his ult, there's no escaping. Not for you, not for your backline. Musashi can easily break through and reach the backline, But the catch is that once he's in, he has no escape tool. It's always an all-in situation. When you go, you're either surviving through sheer damage and lifesteal, or you're going down with nothing left. Next up, we've got two similar candidates for the same tier, Li Bai and Ukyo Tachibana. Both of these heroes have really amazing and unique kits. Li Bai has one of the best kiting and flanking kits in the game, with a skill that lets him dodge one of the deadliest things in the game, CC. On the other hand, Ukyo Tachibana has a healing mechanic that isn't tied to multipliers, meaning no matter the situation, his healing isn't affected by outside factors. Sounds great, right? The issue is that both of these champs seriously lack damage. Their base stats are just so bad that you're usually better off picking another hero over them. They're fun, but in reality, they're weak, and that's why I'm putting them in T2. Next is Jing, and I'm putting her in T1. She's a near-perfect fighter with solid tankiness, and even while being tanky, her damage output is still really good. On top of that, she brings both CC and CC immunity to the table. She's mobile, has ranged damage, and overall, it's really hard not to place her in T1. Of course, Jing isn't flawless. Her ultimate can be dodged, and most importantly, her 1v1 potential isn't the best among fighters. Champs like Diane Wei, Musashi, and Fatih can all beat her in straight duels. Prince of Lanling, Sima Yi, and Neja all kinda fall into the same category. Starting with Neja, he's a tank, and as you already know, tanks are naturally bad in solo queue. On top of that, he doesn't really bring any impactful CC to the table. As for Prince of Lanling and Sima Yi, both of them fall off pretty hard in the late game. They just don't have the damage to make a real impact, and in teamfights it's really difficult to do much stuff with them. That's why I'm putting all three of these heroes in T2. Next is Yao, and I'm putting him in T1. Yao's got a lot of interesting things going for him. Every one of his skills heals him. He naturally takes less damage thanks to his passive, and his cooldowns are already short with built-in cooldown reduction on top. But the catch is, Yao really isn't that great in big team fights. Unless the enemy team is super squishy, or Yao gets really far ahead, he's probably not going to one-shot anyone. Now let's talk about Yang Jian, another hero who got a rework this season. For me, he sits in T1.5, and he's the first candidate of T1.5. The main theme of the battlefield this season is Spritelings, and honestly they've turned into a big disadvantage for Yang Jian. Spritelings can block his skill 1, which is his main way to poke enemy squishies, and that gets really frustrating. On top of that, he literally has no escape. Once he dives in, he's stuck there. That being said, his stats are solid, and with his passive, he's almost unbeatable in straight fights. So overall, I'd keep him in T1.5. Zilong might have a decent engage, but his damage is just bad. On top of that, if you're not terrible at the game, you can dodge his ultimate pretty easily. Add to that his painfully slow jungle clear, and yeah, he fully deserves to be in the Abomination tier, T4. Athena and Ada both can't really do much as junglers, which is why I've placed them in T3. Sure, they have CC and some engage, but their crowd control isn't that great. It's pretty easy to dodge, and on top of that, they barely deal any damage. Kaiser and Dunn are just too dumb of champs for the jungle role. Without Dolia, they really don't bring much and fall flat, which is why I've placed them in T2. However, if you do have Dolia on your team, things can feel a bit different. Xuanse is a tempo jungler with a high skill ceiling. His hook makes his ganks extremely strong, and being ranged gives him more flexibility. Thanks to his passive, if he secures just one kill, he can snowball and carry entire team fights. However, his biggest weakness is that if you're not good at landing hooks, the champion loses a lot of its strength, and even though he's ranged, most other ranged heroes can outrange him. That's why I'm placing him in T1. Wukong and Butterfly both fall into T2 mainly because they lack escapes. Butterfly is only really strong in the mid game, but she falls off heavily in the late game, and in the early game she's so weak that she could easily be bullied around. Wukong, on the other hand, sits at the very top of T2. He's better than almost every hero in this tier because of a unique interaction with Spritelings this season. Normally, when Wukong jumps over a hero, the jump distance is longer. But now, with his skill 2, he can jump onto Spritelings and extend that leap into a massive gap closer, instantly catching or reaching enemies. At first, I thought this was just a bug, but since the devs haven't addressed it, it's fair to take advantage of it. Flowborn as a tank jungler performs much better in high elo, and the biggest reason for that is his CC. His crowd control is genuinely strong, like really good, and it gives him reliable impact in fights. Because of that, I'd place him solidly in T1. Umbrosa is the newly released hero in this game, and she's performing well so far. She's not completely broken or game-breaking, but she definitely makes herself work. If you face her in a lane 1v1, chances are you're going to struggle, because she has solid healing, damage, and escape tools. Her ability to survive instant burst damage is just insane. For these reasons, I'd place her in T1.5. Next is Fang, and he's at the bottom of T4. He's so bad that I really just don't want to talk about him anymore. Fatih is decent overall. He deals decent damage and can tank fairly well. He just lacks a strong engage, and his jungle clear is a bit slow, but overall he gets the job done, which is why I'm placing him in T1.5. Kongming is next, and I'm placing him in T1. When fed, he can one-shot fighters, and his ultimate reset makes him a total nightmare for squishies. His damage is insanely high, but it's somewhat delayed, so if you burst him faster, you can still take him down. Diane Wei is next, and I'm placing him in T1. Each of his skills can cleanse crowd control, and with a fully stacked passive, he can take on 3 enemies at once. However, if he can't stack his passive, he gets kited super easily. Even in high elo, stacking his passive doesn't make him completely immune to kiting. Yuhuan has good utility and nice healing. If you build her tanky, she becomes basically unkillable, but the downside is it's really hard to carry your team. On the other hand, if you build her full damage, she's squishy and can get deleted before even using her ultimate, and she still won't be able to one-shot anyone. She's okay overall, which is why I'm placing her in T2. Han Xin is honestly a nearly flawless assassin. His only real weakness is that he's relatively weak early game. The reason he's not ranked higher is that the champions above him simply do what he does, but better. Han Xin also has excellent mobility and is one of the fastest farming junglers in the game. That's why he belongs in T1. Next is Lamb, and he's in T0.5 for a very interesting reason. As I mentioned before, this season's Spritlings are the main focus of the battlefield. So if you're in a 1v1 against Lamb and use your Spritlings, he can easily stack his second skill on both you and your Spritlings, putting you at a huge disadvantage. Furthermore, Lamb used to struggle to stick to enemies after using his ultimate, but now, with the slow from Spritlings, he can easily keep up with his opponent, making him even more deadly. These last 4 junglers, Jing, Luna, Pei, and Fade, are pretty self-explanatory. They have everything that most junglers in the lower tiers lack or struggle with. Just like the champions in T1 have good damage and mobility, while T2 lacks stats, these 4 cover all the bases. They have the best kiting kits, incredible mobility, and are strong from the very start of the game. That's why they belong in T0. Also, if you're highly skilled, Jing can easily outperform Pei, Luna, and Fade. That's it for this video, lads. I hope this tier list made it easier for you to figure out the strongest junglers in the game right now, and also helped you gain some insight into each hero, mostly their strengths and weaknesses. As I mentioned at the start, this tier list is highly subjective and purely based on my friend Zomassassins and my own opinion. If you agree with it, let me know. If you disagree, tell me why and what changes you think should be made. I also believe this is the best Honor of Kings jungle tier list so far. One thing I forgot to mention is that most heroes in their tiers are unordered. Like Ada isn't necessarily stronger than Nakaruru, but he's placed at the top. There are some heroes, like Wukong and Jing, for whom I specifically said they should be at the top of their tier, and that's true. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider both hyping and liking it. Subscribe to my channel to join my W subscribers family and help me reach 4,000 subscribers soon. We're very close. Comment below if you have any questions or just want to say something to me. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye and love y'all.